Every single one of us is a leader and could be a leader.
It started with a local coalition in our county.
Strategies you know, but stories you don't.
Data is the currency of prevention.
We want to reduce the negative, and we want to promote the positive.
This is the Mid-America PTTC podcast. I'm your host, Dave Clausen. And for today's episode, I got to have a great conversation with Holly and Lori from our PTTC National Coordinating Office. Now, I don't think you guys realize how many hats they are wearing there at UMKC, but oh my gosh, they've got a lot going on. And in this episode, they share a lot of ways where you can get involved. You can access all of the great resources and all of the networks that are there within their center. So give this episode a listen, grab your notebook and take some great notes because there's a lot of great training and TA at your fingertips and ready for you to get involved. All right, without further ado, here's today's episode. All right, listeners, welcome to this episode of the PTTC podcast for the Mid-America region. And hey, y'all, I am excited to have two special guests joining me today from our NCO, National Coordinating Office. And we'll actually unpack what that means in just a little bit. But hey, Holly, Lori, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right. Now, I usually like to start off each episode with inviting the guests to just share a little bit about yourselves. And rather than me read a lengthy bio, let's just jump in. Can you share a little bit?
Sure. I'm Holly Hagel. I am an associate research professor at the University of Missouri, Kansas City at the School of Nursing and Health Studies and the Collaborative to Advance Health Services. That's the entity that our grants are under, the umbrella organization. And I've been here in Missouri for 4 years now. I'm originally a Pennsylvanian. I moved here 4 years ago to the Midwest, and I'm super happy to be part of the Midwest movement. And I'll turn it over to my co-director, Lori Crum.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lori Crum. I work with Holly at UMKC. She mentioned I've been in Kansas City for about 17 years. I'm originally from the Catskills in New York, and Holly and I have worked together for actually most of the time that I've lived in Kansas City. And we both have quite a lot in common. We're both educators in our background. We both have daughters that are very close in age. And so we're good friends in addition to colleagues.
Well, your synergy, your energy is radiant and inspiring. We always love working with y'all. And let's go to that. When it comes to working with you all, there are a lot of different ways we can work with you. Folks from our region can work with you because you wear a lot of different hats. Can you help me understand all the different hats that you wear?
Well, we co-direct the Prevention Addiction Technology and the Addiction Technology Transfer Center Network Coordinating Offices. So those are two different grants funded by SAMHSA, or the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. The Addiction Technology Transfer Center is the foundational grant. That grant has been continuously funded by SAMHSA for almost 30 years. And then mere 4 years ago, almost now, they decided that model worked so well that they applied it to the prevention workforce and the mental health workforce. And so UMKC, with its legacy of running the network coordinating office for the entire length of the existence of the ATTC grant, we thought we should go in with some really great stakeholders and apply for the Prevention Network Coordinating Office. And we were very blessed to win that application and then work in the prevention community now for almost 4 years. So I guess I'll stop there and see if Lori wants to elaborate on that structure.
Yeah, so in addition to those two hats that Holly and I both wear, we also are co-directors of the implementation arm of the Opioid Response Network, which is another large SAMHSA grant project, TA center. And we actually do quite a lot of prevention work through that project as well. In just a plug for the ORN, anybody can go in and put in a TA request to the website, opioidresponsenetwork.org, and you can request education, training, technical assistance for prevention, treatment, and recovery related to opioid and stimulant use. Another hat that we wear is that we are both part of the University of Missouri Kansas City community. And so we are building applied research group in the School of Nursing and Health Studies called the Collaborative to Advance Health Services that Holly mentioned before. So quite a lot of our effort is working with other parts of the university system to build the capacity of the University of Missouri system to be able to address substance use.
So many questions come to mind. Y'all are doing so much great work, and early on in our region, since y'all are in our region too, I'm always bragging about Region 7 rocks. And just when we start to look at all of the work that's coming out of Region 7, I can't help but be proud. So, hey, listeners, y'all, there's a lot of great stuff going on here. Gotta love it. And yeah, all right, here I go down my little rabbit hole. Y'all are our people too. You're in our region.
Mm-hmm.
We work together. And as you all know, you know what's coming. But at the Mid-America PTTC, we believe prevention is better together, and together we are stronger. And so if you've attended any of our events, you know that one of our big goals is to bring people together, to be that hub, that connector, and to help spark new partnerships and collaborations. And hey, how are you all doing that at the NCO on a bigger scale? What's that look like for you?
Well, I think that one of the advantages of wearing multiple hats is that we can quickly see the intersection of topics or stakeholders, and we can leverage those connections. Sometimes federal funding could be siloed somewhat, but because we have been around for a while, but also wear the multiple hats, we can see where things intersect, where there might be gaps. And I think that has been an advantage of the legacy here at UMKC, here to have these multiple technical assistance centers. In addition, I will say, as a person who moved here from a different location, that there is also the Midwest culture, the values of gathering together and having meaningful relationships, not the hustle and bustle necessarily, but focusing on relationships. That does translate through the Midwest and the culture of collaboration. I can say that for sure. I'm not saying that other places don't collaborate. I'm just saying there is a distinct Midwest vibe that does foster relationship building and collaboration. And I'm just grateful to be part of it. And I think that's part of the success that we've been blessed to have.
And I'll just add, I think one of my favorite things to do in my job is to create relationships and see the ways that people can connect and work together for the greater good. One of my favorite sayings, and Holly's heard this so many times, she's going to roll her eyes, but one of my favorite sayings is, the glass is neither half empty or half full. The point is that the glass can be refilled. And I really do take that to heart. I think that if we all work together, regardless of the problem, we can do better. We can have a bigger impact. We can have a deeper impact. We can reach more people. So that's really important to me. I think the role of the network coordinating office is that in many ways. Our job is to create the infrastructure, the communication platforms, and the opportunities for all of the PTTCs to be able to connect with each other, to build off of what each other is doing, and to form this really strong, efficiently run network so that we can leverage our resources to have a deeper impact.
I just got to take a moment and acknowledge it. I can just hear the passion in your voice, the caring in your voice. So thank you for bringing that. What are some cool examples that y'all have seen folks coming together, working together across regions, across networks, across state lines, or even agencies?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind when you ask that really is right now the workforce. Let's just take the prevention workforce. So of course we are still in the midst of COVID and a year and a half now of a transition and this threat of continual transition, not knowing for sure we open, we close, we hybrid. And the workforce throughout the behavioral health workforce, including the prevention workforce, is a bit stressed. And we have a lot of stakeholders that we want to address this issue sincerely, have been working with the workforce, strengthening the workforce. And now more than ever, we're hearing about it across stakeholders, across groups, that we have to support our workforce. We have to build the leadership skills. We have to have that legacy where we're recruiting new people to the field to really understand prevention and to widen the prevention workforce. So we work right now as the PTTC NCO, we work with the National Prevention State Directors. We work, with the Opioid Response Network, which is another grant that Lori had mentioned, has a huge, prevention arm that works on it, and other national stakeholders like CADCA, and just a slew of partners that right now have all done our strategic planning and are starting our next grant cycle work and are dedicating our time and infrastructure resources to workforce activities. We are working with the credentialing board on a job classification to strengthen the workforce, to get that federal support for the prevention community, for prevention specialists. So for me, right now, more than ever, and we've seen a workforce evolution because I've been in the field for a while in other sectors too. We've seen it in addiction, we've seen it in recovery with recovery specialists. Now is the time for us to strengthen our efforts for the workforce, for the prevention workforce. And so we're doing that on those multiple national levels, but also with the regional centers through our work groups that are really a foundation to collaboration across the network. So to me, that's a concrete example. We are trying to get support to the workforce. We're trying to think about the future of the workforce through leadership development initiatives, through the job classifications, and through working with these national stakeholders that value prevention and want to make sure that workforce expands in the future with the new generation.
And I'll just add, I think, because I would be remiss since we are recording this in September. September is National Recovery Month, and our office at UMKC, through the ATTCs, but now also through the PTTCs, has been a huge supporter of National Recovery Month for many years. We've served on SAMHSA's National Recovery Month planning partners. We're continuing to work with the Recovery Month partner team, and Holly and I both really think about substance use in terms of the continuum of care. So for us, prevention, harm reduction, early intervention, treatment, recovery, it's important that we look at these things as a continuum and we don't continue to operate in our silos. So one of the things that I'm very excited about is later this month, we're working with the National Peer Recovery Center of Excellence, Faces and Voices of Recovery, and the National Council for Mental Wellbeing. And we're having a Recovery Month webinar that's really turned into a rock star series. It's a 2-hour webinar. Where have we been in the recovery movement? Where are we now and where are we going? And it's having really some of the pillars of the recovery community who are going to be speaking. And so that's just another example of bringing together people who've been on the ground in the recovery community for many years, working with those younger people who are moving that forward too. Just another way that we're trying to build community.
I love it. I love it. And folks, check the show notes for links to that webinar or to the recording as well once that gets published, because I'm looking forward to that, definitely. And to share just kind of an insider story from our region, I think you both are aware, we have a joint advisory board across all three of our centers. And we did that with the intent of starting to break down those silos. And
Yes.
what's really cool is we're learning about each other's areas that fall within that continuum of care. Oftentimes as professionals, I'm going on a soapbox rant, so I'll keep it short though, because this isn't about me, but we focus on our lane, what's in front of us, and we don't cross-train. We don't learn about our neighbors on the continuum of care. We might know a little bit, but they're over there doing their thing. But my gosh, the more we come together, the more we can create that big picture culture change. All right, I'm getting fired up, so I'm going to hit pause real quick a little bit. What would be some cool ways for our listeners to learn about all of the different centers and networks that are at their fingertips, that they have access to?
For sure, our website. That is our main portal of information. That's where you can sign up for our electronic newsletters and learn more about all of our projects, sign up and register for the webinars, take any of the hundreds of online courses we have, participate in learning communities where you get to delve deep on a topic, but also get interaction with your peers and colleagues. So we'll put our website obviously with this podcast. And all of our resources are free. And if there's any charge, it's low cost for CEUs only. So we, through the network, not just the Mid-America, but obviously all the regional centers and national centers, you have just at a fingertip away, a lot of resources, and our website is the number one place to get it.
All right, I'll put that link. Actually, I'll probably put a couple different links in the show notes. And just to drive that fact home, folks, doesn't matter what region you live in or work in, you have access to all of the resources from any of the regions. One of the main goals, the spirit behind the TTC model system, is increasing access to high quality training and technical assistance. So folks, it's there for you. I'll put those links in there for you to access it. Lori, anything you wanted to add as far as where folks can tap into the vast resources? How can they get involved, get connected?
Sure. I'll add that SAMHSA's website has a link at the top for practitioner training. And if you go to that link, it lists all of the SAMHSA funded training and TA centers. If you see one there that you're interested in, but you're not quite sure how to reach out to them, I think one of the strengths of the TTC model is that we are great at connecting you. So please feel free to email us. We have a network coordinating office email address that we can also put in the show notes, and we would be happy to connect you. We have relationships and regular meetings with all of those TA centers, and we'd be happy to make those introductions for you.
Y'all, they do believe together is better and together we are stronger. So take them up on that offer, get involved. And all right, here comes one final big question for both of you. If you had one piece of advice, one call to action, or if you're going to remember one thing from this podcast, remember this, what would it be?
Well, I mean, what comes to my mind first, and this might seem a little cliche, but that prevention is everywhere. We all have a role in advancing the principles of prevention, advancing the continuum, primary, select, and indicated. Prevention is everyone. There's a role for everyone. And I know this audience already knows that. But to me, it's very profound because of the breadth of the prevention field and the impact that we have on our communities and with each other. So prevention is everywhere, and I'm proud.
I think it's hard to follow that, Holly. That's a good one. But I'm gonna go a little bit different direction and answer your question about a piece of advice. And my piece of advice, and maybe it's more of a challenge, is that everyone look around, see who you're working with, see who the students are that you interact with, young professionals, especially look for those young professionals who are from communities who haven't been part of the prevention workforce in the past, and figure out how maybe you could mentor them. How can you help give them some connections, a leg up? How can we recruit more people to do this work, and what's your role in that, and how can you maybe make that one extra email introduction, or make a connection that someone wouldn't normally have in LinkedIn, or any of the other ways that you can just give more young professionals and students and college students who haven't been part of our workforce, and who maybe otherwise wouldn't even think of prevention, an entry into our work.
Yes, indeed. And gosh, that right there could be a whole nother podcast episode. I'm going to make a note of that and give y'all guys a call back. Absolutely. Holly, Lori, I know y'all are crazy busy going out there doing good work, creating positive change in this world. So thank you for taking time out of your schedules to hang out with me in Zoom and record this podcast. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, Dave.
That concludes this episode. Thank you all for not only taking time to listen, but your continued work to make our region safe, healthy, and drug-free. If you'd like to know what training we have coming up, check out our website at pttcnetwork.org. And remember, prevention is better together, and together we are stronger.